Hey guys, so today we've got something really interesting we're going to look into. Now, with this whole quarantine going on and still going on for the coronavirus, it creates an environment that's really easy to fall into being lazy and letting laziness kind of just overtake who you are. And I mean, think about it. Some of you are on online school, and some of the kids are telling me that their online schooling is like extra credit for its score. So it's just, oh, I get to stay in my room, just wear my PJs and go to class. Like, you get to be super lazy. You're not leaving your house. You're playing video games all day. You're binging social media, like looking through TikTok and Instagram for 6 hours at a time. Even watching like whole seasons on Netflix in a day, just binge watching. It really creates an environment for laziness. And what we're going to take a look at today in Proverbs and in Romans is what the Bible has to say about laziness. And the Bible has a lot to say about laziness, especially in Proverbs. It really talks about that. But we'll go ahead and take a look. Starting in Proverbs chapter 13, verse 4, it says, "The slacker craves, yet has nothing, but the diligent is fully satisfied." Again, this is in the CSB. But notice the slacker or the lazy person wants things. They desire things. They're constantly craving for something, but they don't get. And why is that? Because their desires require them to work for it. You don't just get things for free in life. If you want even how it is, if you want your likes on social media, you got to get out and take your photos. Like, you have to work for things. But people can be so lazy that they just desire and they never get because it's never worth it to them. They'd rather just be the guy on Wall-E who's stuck in the chair using the robot. They're just lazy. Now, notice though, the diligent is satisfied. Why? Because they're working towards the things that they want. The diligent will, even if they don't get the ultimate goal of what they want, they've taken a step closer into getting what they want. They're remaining diligent in what they're doing towards their own goal. And this is a good thing. This is physically lazy that we're talking about here. And think about it. Like, one of the examples is, think about nowadays, the big thing is being fit and being in shape and looking good, especially on social media. It's overwhelming. And there's plenty of self-help and workout guides and all this stuff. And so many people will sit there and watch for hours how to do the perfect push-up, how to do the perfect pull-up, how to eat healthy. And yet they won't do it. They'll watch for hours, they'll be lazy and sit behind their TV and watch it, but they won't implement it. They will be the person there that craves but never gets because they're just lazy. And it's unfortunate. But that's talking about physical laziness. There is another kind of laziness that the Bible addresses, and that's spiritual laziness. And this is something we need to take a look at and focus in on, especially in our lives, because I feel like that plagues a lot more Christians than they realize. In Romans chapter 12, verse 11, it says, "Do not lack diligence in zeal. Be fervent in spirit. Serve the Lord." So it's really easy to become slack and lazy spiritually in our walk as Christians. You get saved, you have everlasting life, and you're like, cool, I'm good. That's it. I mean, do I really need to read my Bible all the time? Do I really got to go share the gospel with that guy? Because, that's a lot of work, like explaining everything. And what if they have questions? That's a lot of work I got to deal with. I'm saved, I'm good. And that's a problem. We fall into this laziness, this spiritual laziness, almost like a sloth. And it's sad. Think of examples that you have. Like, imagine, we were made in the image of Christ. We are to follow in his footsteps, in Jesus' footsteps. But what if Jesus was lazy? What if Jesus was so lazy that he just was like, oh, it'd be really great if everyone was saved and I could pay for their sins. But you know what? It sounds like a lot of work. I'd have to not sin and I'd have to come down and I'd have to go to the cross and be tortured and killed, and it just sounds like a lot of work. I think, nah, I'm just gonna kick it on the river with my friends and eat some fish. That's not what he did. Jesus did not do that. He went and did this and died on the cross for us. And this is a bit of a crazy example, but the point is, we aren't supposed to get lazy once we're saved. We need to be, as it says here, diligent in our zeal. Just constantly pressing forward for Jesus. Reading our Bibles, praying, understanding what it means to be a Christian and live as a Christian. We talked about last time being that living sacrifice. That sounds like a lot of work. Like I got to give up sin and things, and not when the choices come up, like I have to actually think about it. Well, yeah, do that. Don't be lazy. Choose God. Now, there's also other things. When it comes to physical and spiritual laziness, there's goals that we want to hit. I mean, in physicality, like being physical, you want a good career as you get older. Some people want to be married. There's goals that you have. And some people have spiritual goals. Like, I want to share the gospel with as many people as possible. I want to read my word all the time. Well, don't be lazy in that. Choose to do it. Because, we have great examples. Look at, like, Greg Laurie. He's not lazy. He spreads the gospel to many people through the Harvest Crusades. But that takes diligence and work. And it also takes a spiritual diligence, a zeal that he is focused on the Lord and he's loving God. And he's not just saying, oh, I'm saved, so I'm good. I can go and live my life and do whatever is easy. No, he says, God, whatever you want me to do, whatever work you want me to do to share with people then I'll do it. We have an example, Mike Winger with Bible Thinker. He puts in hard work to make his videos. If you don't understand, he takes hours and hours, not like 2 or 3 hours, like 40 hours, more than that sometimes, for his videos to cover a topic. We need to have a diligence and a attitude towards God of energy. Not being lazy and sitting there, I'm going to just binge watch another video. It's like, no, jump off the video. Call your friend. Pray. Be there for someone who needs discipleship or encouragement or even just has questions. Make sure you are diligent and do not lack diligence in your zeal, but be fervent in the Spirit. Serve the Lord. That's literally the last thing it says in that verse. Serve the Lord. So, guys, we Christians need to stop being lazy physically and spiritually. We need to make sure that we're able to get up and do the things that God has called us to do physically and also spiritually. So go and share the gospel with your friends. Read your Bible. And make sure you make the right choice in your life. Be a living sacrifice. Do what God has called you to do. That's what we need to be. We need to quit being lazy. So I challenge you guys to read 2 things. Well, a little more than 2 things. One, because of this times it's a little crazy, I want you to go to John chapters 13 through 17. Read that and just look at what Jesus does for us. Make sure to keep that in mind, as well as I want you to read Romans chapter 12, verses 9 through 21, and see what the characteristics of a Christian are. And see where in your life you need to do that. Where you're being lazy and not having those characteristics, stop. Stop being lazy. Instead, you need to do those characteristics for God. So, again, guys, I miss you. Stay safe, wash your hands, and God bless.